Guys, so I forgot to bring my actual camera today, but today I am at Ichiba in Westfield Mall, and it's supposed to be the biggest kind of like Japanese eatery in London. It only opened like about 2 weeks ago. I've read some of the reviews. So basically what it is it's sort of like a Japan center, like a Japanese grocery market in there, but also with like a Japanese food court. And from what I've heard is that the food court is maybe not so good. But I'm excited about kind of going in there, checking it out, and seeing how it is on the inside, probably just in terms of the grocery section. So who knows? Let's see. You want love, lower your expectations of outside of Ichiba, and I actually found that Japan Center, the one that is in central London, that I think that this is pretty much connected to, has actually more sales. I find that this place is like maybe a tad more expensive. I know it's supposed to be like the same shop, but I actually found that the prices here, some of them were a bit higher and that there were less sales in there. I think that in terms of the food, I think you can customize a little bit in terms of like if you're vegan or whatnot, but I don't think that there's a lot. The food court's like okay big, but I would say that in terms of when you're going grocery shopping, that little area is just smaller than you would think, considering this place seems like it would be bigger on the outside, but it's really not bad. There's a lot of different variety as well, so it's really fun to shop around. There's like the makeup, the skincare part. There's obviously like little lunch boxes and like cute things that you can buy that they imported from Japan. Not too cheap, but it's really fun to walk around. So I definitely, if you're around the area, I'd say it's about 30 minutes outside of London, so definitely worth a visit. Hey guys, so like I said, I just came back from the largest Japanese food hall in all of Europe, and that happens to be in Westfield, right around a half an hour outside of London. Just a couple of comments on the center itself. It is located inside a really big mall. It's like the Westfield Mall. It is very kind of like similar to a lot of your suburban malls in America, which I don't get to see a lot of in London. So Ichiba has been open for right around 2 weeks now, and it is supposed to be, I think, part of Japan Center. It's not too big, but it's like a main Japanese market in and around central London. When I was reading about the reviews, there was definitely room for improvement. Most of the people were talking about the speed, the waiting time it took to get food from the food hall, and then also that the food might have been not so good. And I thought it's probably because, you know, initially when a store opens, everybody goes, everybody floods it, and so they're not really prepared for that kind of volume yet. So I knew that a lot of the issues were probably there first, so I decided to give it a try anyways. What I found was that the center was really fun to go into. It was very easy for anybody who's into these Japanese things to go and potentially purchase them. Price-wise, for most of those things, they're pretty expensive. I think Japanese things in general are synonymous with quality, so it's always even more expensive anyways. But then having to bring it over to London, I think that kind of elevates the costs. So what it is when you first enter from the outside, there is kind of this food hall area. There's like a takoyaki stand that does, you know, like the octopus balls, and then towards in front of you, there's sort of, they have two restaurants in there, Shoryu, which does ramen, and they have two actually vegan options there. And then they have, I think it's katsu and kare, which does, you know, katsu and Japanese curry. And I think that they have one vegan option there. I actually took a picture of the menu for you all to see. So that'll be really useful. And I think what's nice is that they do have that clear window so you can see what everybody's doing, whether it's, you know, making the curry, making the baos. There's also poke bowls there. I guess for me, because I sort of wasn't putting much of my hopes on the food hall area, I was a little bit sad about how small the actual grocery portion of the store was. Like when you talk about, you know, Europe's biggest food hall, I sort of was thinking that maybe that would kind of like pass on over to the grocery section as well. And the grocery section was somewhat throughout the store, but there was really basically this really small portion towards the back of the store where I think everything was squished together. So for those of you who have been to Japan Center, which is, you know, underground, the space is not bad, but it's not like a huge grocery store. I would say that this one is either similar, if not maybe even smaller. So I didn't find that it was too extravagant that way. I also found that in terms of prices, when you compare it to Japan Center, which is, you know, kind of in the center of city, I found that prices are supposed to be the same because I think that they're similar entities. But I found that Japan Center had a lot more sales going on. And so in terms of price point that way, you know, for anybody, if it's more convenient for you to go to the center of town, I would say that, you know, Japan Center is a good bet as well. Like everything that was at Ichiba, I felt like was also at Japan Center, short of that food court area outside. Now, in terms of the food court itself, I think maybe because I'm from kind of like big box store America, I thought that the food hall was really nice. It had, you know, a nice space to it, but I didn't really think that it was like grand in any way. Like it wasn't like going in where there were like restaurant upon restaurant upon restaurant and, you know, rows and rows, because that's what I was thinking. It was basically like 2 or 3 restaurants when you enter, and then on the side there was a Japanese bakery. So for those of you who have been to H Mart, it's sort of like a little kind of bakery area where you can get coffee and then different kind of like Japanese baked goods. So I guess like together maybe there'd be like 4 or 5 restaurants in total. And I think what they're counting is also there's this like fresh kind of grab and go section where there's sushi, where there's drinks as well. That kind of reminds me of like the grab and go section of Walgreens maybe. And so I think when you count kind of all of that, there might be like 5 or 6, you know, kind of restaurants in the area. But I definitely wouldn't say like, you know, when you conjure up, you know, Europe's biggest, I definitely wouldn't say that. But I do think that everything looked fairly organized. Like, again, this is 2 weeks in, so there wasn't like a crazy amount of people. I think that everything looked fairly organized. Everything looked fairly clean. And from kind of what I read from the reviews, though, is in terms of Japanese food, which I think London has a fair amount of really good Japanese restaurants. I think maybe they could possibly do a better job in terms of the food there. I actually didn't have any of the food there. I was sort of going around just for the grocery shopping and then to show you guys the area in case if you do go into London, you do like Japanese things, you know, it'd be a fun place to go. You know, it's kind of like street food, so ramen, katsu, and curry, and you have like little barbecued things as well. And there are some vegan options dotted in between. I think I counted like probably 3 or 4 kind of like bigger meals, and then, I don't know, 3 or 4 of like the little like barbecue skewers, vegetable skewers. So that is an option if you are vegan and you do want to go. I'll actually be doing a full-out Japanese grocery store haul really soon where I just get all of these like crazy and fun ingredients that I've never seen before. So make sure to stay tuned for that. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this really quick run-through of Ichiba in Westfield, London. Let me know if you guys have any questions and I'll try to answer them the best that I can. I know that this was a little bit brief, but you know, just wanted to show you guys my weekend. Yeah, so I will see you guys again soon, okay? All right, bye.